You know that feeling when you see an old friend living a lifestyle you'd never picture them in, like your high school buddy suddenly turning into a crypto guru on Instagram?
Not only is the yachting industry creepy AF, as the worker, these situations can cause feelings of shame or regret, and sometimes the allegation that someone might be a yacht person is weaponized against them, whether it's true or not. Now, I do want to make the distinction here and say that there shouldn't be an inherent shame in the work itself. At the same time,
That's the vibe I get when I see Zac Efron popping up on yachts, sipping cocktails, and leaning into this mysterious yacht boy image. And here's where it gets interesting. Vanessa Hudgens, the woman who knew him best during his Disney glory days, seems to have quietly responded to all the noise. It's subtle, it's nostalgic, and if you ask me, it's her way of breaking silence without saying a single direct word. Let's connect the dots.
work on the high seas, it doesn't sound like an environment that would be conducive to sobriety, especially for someone who has a history of relapse and self-destruction. I mean, this summer he was spotted heading onto a yacht the same day as his high-profile ex, Vanessa Hudgens, was leaving the hospital with her newborn baby. So is it reaching to think that there might be a link here, that he sees yachting as part of his addiction/coping mechanisms? But it's not like Vanessa having a baby is enough to throw Zac off the wagon on its own. The truth is, Zac has been struggling for a long time, and all of the signs have been hiding in plain sight.
Every time Zac Efron pops up in headlines lately, the same theme comes back: yachts. It's almost become his unofficial brand. Insiders whisper about him being spotted in St. Tropez, lounging shirtless on decks with a cocktail in hand, or strolling down the pier after shopping sprees that scream Hollywood money.
A Svengali is a person who controls others with powerful mental manipulation.
The actor from A Family Affair joined a group of friends on a yacht.
Why would somebody with multiple stints in rehab vacation in Ibiza?
Fortunately, it can sometimes get a bit seedy, a bit creepy with drunk people who think they can do whatever they want. These owners, these millionaires, these billionaires, they're incredibly powerful people, and a lot of the time they get their own way. It's an incredibly secretive world which no one really knows much about. The guests just use super yachts as their little playground. They live in this little bubble where they think anything goes and anything can happen.
These sightings keep adding fuel to the Yacht Boy label, a nickname fans now toss around online like it's his new alter ego. But what made the timing sting for so many was the sharp contrast. While Zac was photographed soaking up the European sun, Vanessa Hudgens was in Los Angeles hitting one of the biggest milestones of her life, welcoming her first child.
Just a couple of years ago in 2022, Zac told People magazine that his anxiety was getting so bad he didn't want to leave his house. That was right around the time that an ad for Earth the Musical on Facebook led the internet to speculate about what was wrong with his face.
See that now that chin has more extension forward than it did previously. There's also increased width.
I think that he has had some jaw work. It looks more like an implant, whether that was metal plates or a jaw implant for aesthetics.
Two stories, two headlines, side by side, her grounded family moment versus his carefree yacht narrative. That juxtaposition made people stop scrolling and pay attention. And of course, the internet can't resist drama. Fans instantly started spinning theories. Was Vanessa's later Instagram post a subtle jab? Was she reminding everyone that while Zac drifts through phases, she's out here living with purpose? That's the messy beauty of celebrity culture. The coincidences never look like coincidences.
Go to Cannes, France, and get on these yachts and do things with billionaires that they would not do if they weren't getting paid. One person said, "Can't Zac get a gig on OnlyFans?" Sadly, this is not surprising to me. Now, I don't think Zac is going to create an OF page anytime soon because yachting is a lot more elite than that, and you make a lot more money.
Now here's where it gets delicious. Vanessa didn't sit down for an interview or post a ranty caption. Her break in silence came in the form of an Instagram story. Just a short clip from her 2007 music video, Say Okay, starring none other than Zac Efron, and with it, a tongue-in-cheek caption about her side bangs being such a moment in time. On the surface, it looked like harmless nostalgia, just another throwback Thursday kind of post. But let's be real, Vanessa is no rookie when it comes to media attention.
Zac Efron is allegedly a yacht boy.
Zac Efron earns a big payday while on a luxurious yacht with older men. His net worth has increased by $5 million from other ventures outside of acting.
Speaking of yachting, it is very, very rare that the Svengali lets the former Disney actor out of his sight during yachting season.
She knows exactly what happens when you put Zac's face back on people's feeds the same week he's trending for yacht escapades. Fans picked up on it instantly. To them, this wasn't just a hairstyle joke. It was a carefully chosen wink at her past with Zac timed to perfection. The speculation machine went into overdrive. Screenshots spread, Reddit threads blew up, TikTok edits flooded timelines. People were convinced that Vanessa wasn't just reminiscing, she was making a statement. A quiet, classy, but undeniably pointed acknowledgement of the boy she once knew and the man he appears to be now.
Work is still highly stigmatized in our society, and that is oftentimes used against workers, and in this case, these high-profile workers. So with considerations of their reputation, along with their physical safety, as I mentioned earlier, the stakes are high. So yeah, the concern people have for Zac being tied to all of this is definitely understandable. Even if Zac wasn't engaging in
Hollywood chatter has made one thing clear: Vanessa never really went away. Even though their relationship ended over a decade ago, Zac and Vanessa still live rent-free in pop culture's collective memory. For an entire generation, they weren't just co-stars in High School Musical. They were the couple, the embodiment of that blurred line where on-screen romance bleeds into real life. Their chemistry was so strong that even cast members commented on it. One described them as the sun and moon to each other, always orbiting in sync. That imagery stuck, and fans carried it with them long after the credits rolled. So when Zac gets linked to luxury yachts and Vanessa quietly drops a throwback, it instantly reawakens that nostalgia. People can't help but frame today's headlines against the backdrop of their Disney days, and this is why Vanessa's smallest moves matter. Even without speaking Zac's name, she's forever linked to his story. Every yacht sighting, every reinvention he goes through, her name comes up as if the world is still asking her for commentary. It proves the power of their shared history. No matter how much time passes, Vanessa is always one step away from trending again. If there's one thing I've learned watching celebrities, it's that timing tells the story more than words ever do. Vanessa's decision to post that clip wasn't some random scroll through her camera roll. It dropped right after Zac's yacht photos started circulating. Within hours, blogs were connecting the dots. Fans saw the sequence as shade wrapped in sweetness. On one hand, Vanessa was just laughing at her old hairstyle. On the other, she was putting a spotlight on the Zac she knew, the young, goofy, wide-eyed boy who sang duets with her in their teens. Dropping that reminder while Zac's new persona, shirtless yacht wanderer, was trending felt like a side-by-side comparison without her having to say a word. And that's the brilliance of it. Vanessa managed to reinsert herself into the conversation while maintaining her dignity. She didn't call Zac out, didn't stir drama outright. She just let timing do the heavy lifting. For the fans who were watching closely, the alignment was too sharp to ignore. The talk in town is that Zac has gone through more reinventions than most actors his age. He's not just the Disney heartthrob anymore. Over the past decade, we've seen him as the rugged adventurer in Australia, the fitness buff with extreme diets, the indie actor chasing serious credibility, and now the yacht boy drifting through Europe. To the fans who grew up on Troy and Gabriella, this evolution feels almost alien. The Zac who once held Vanessa's hand at basketball games is now being photographed on luxury decks with entourages. It's a far cry from the shy boy-next-door image he once carried, and that's exactly why Vanessa's subtle nod resonates. It highlights the gap between the Zac she knew, a grounded rising star, and the Zac the world sees today, hopping from one lifestyle phase to the next. For some, this transformation is fascinating. It shows Zac as a restless spirit, constantly chasing reinvention. For others, it feels like he's drifting further from the boy they adored. Either way, Vanessa's quiet reference throws his evolution into sharp relief. By reminding fans of the past, she forces them to look harder at who Zac has become. Insiders whisper that Vanessa Hudgens' life trajectory has landed in a completely different place from Zac's. While he's drifting through yacht trips and social headlines, Vanessa is navigating a new identity: motherhood. She recently welcomed her first child with Cole Tucker, and every post she shares now radiates stability, warmth, and domestic grounding. Fans love this contrast. On one side, you have Vanessa in cozy, candid family photos, smiling with her husband, showing the glow of someone who has found her center. On the other, you have paparazzi shots of Zac boarding boats, sunglasses on, surrounded by friends whose names rarely make the credits. The parallel is so striking that social media can't help but frame it as the mature mother versus the eternal bachelor. And here's what makes it sting even more: people root for Vanessa because she seems to have grown up without bitterness. She's not trying to erase her Disney past or her connection to Zac. Instead, she's simply evolving, letting the milestones of her real life speak for themselves. That makes her look not only grounded but graceful, a quality fans contrast heavily against Zac's ongoing image shifts. Hollywood chatter claims Vanessa has one of the sharpest instincts when it comes to leveraging nostalgia. She knows that fans don't just remember her, they remember Zanessa. That duo defined a generation of teens who sang along to High School Musical and believed Troy and Gabriella's love story was real. So when she posted that short clip from Say OK, she wasn't just reminding people about her bangs. She was rewinding the timeline to when she and Zac were at their peak together. And in doing so, she shifted the conversation away from his yacht escapades and back to the boy-next-door version of Zac people fell in love with. It was like she was reclaiming the narrative. That's the Zac I knew, the Zac the world adored, not the one in blurry yacht photos. This is the brilliance of nostalgia, it's disarming. Instead of attacking Zac's current image, Vanessa gently reminded fans of the golden memory, forcing them to compare it themselves. And the result? A tidal wave of support for her subtlety and a sharp side-eye toward Zac's reinvention. The talk in online circles is that Vanessa's fans practically turned into detectives the moment her story dropped. Reddit threads dissected every frame. TikTokers overlaid her clip with side-by-side shots of Zac on yachts. And Twitter, or X, exploded with debates about her intentions. Some insisted it was obvious shade. She didn't post that video by accident. Not with all this timing, one fan wrote. Others defended her, saying she was simply celebrating her own history without worrying about Zac's choices. But even those who argued against shade admitted one thing: Vanessa knew exactly how people would react. And that's the magic. Her fan base is fiercely loyal, and they love when she throws them breadcrumbs to decode. In their eyes, this wasn't random nostalgia, it was calculated commentary disguised as casual fun. By leaving just enough room for interpretation, Vanessa guaranteed that every corner of the internet would keep her name trending, while Zac's yacht narrative became the backdrop. Industry buzz suggests Zac's response, or lack of one, is part of his classic playbook. Whenever messy stories surface, Zac tends to retreat. He lets the storm of speculation swirl, stays quiet, and then reemerges later with a fresh smile, a new project, or another reinvention. It's almost predictable at this point. But here's the catch: silence doesn't kill a rumor, it feeds it. The longer Zac avoids addressing his yacht boy label, the more people assume there's something to it. If he truly wanted to squash the narrative, he could post one grounded photo with his family, one note about his work, or even a single sentence pushing back. The fact that he hasn't makes fans suspicious. Now place Vanessa's post right in the middle of his silence, and the effect multiplies. Her subtle nostalgia echoes louder because Zac hasn't said a word. It's as if she got the final say without ever speaking directly, while he let the narrative run wild around him. And in celebrity culture, whoever speaks, even quietly, usually wins. Insiders whisper that yacht culture carries heavy baggage in Hollywood. It isn't just about suntans and champagne. It's about power, exclusivity, and whispers of what really happens behind closed doors. Certain names are always tied to these scenes, and the speculation around why some stars are always present never seems to die down. That's why Zac's repeated appearance in these circles raises eyebrows. Fans know him as the wholesome heartthrob from Disney, but seeing him aligned with yacht culture paints a more mysterious, almost shady picture. Vanessa's world couldn't be further removed from that image. And her current life is about motherhood, stability, and public projects that feel transparent and safe. This divide gives Vanessa's subtle jab even more weight. By staying away from those circles, she looks above the chaos. By contrast, Zac looks pulled into it, willingly or not. That contrast creates a shadow over his current persona, a shadow Vanessa doesn't even have to point out. Hollywood insiders suggest that Vanessa's move wasn't just personal, it was strategic. She managed to insert herself into Zac's headlines without saying his name once. That's media mastery. With one nostalgic clip, she reminded the public of their shared past, tied her brand back to a beloved era, and positioned herself as the grounded counterpart to his yacht drama. The brilliance here is how clean it was. No messy interviews, no direct shade, no quotes that could backfire. She let the internet do the heavy lifting. Within hours, her name was trending alongside Zac's, but the tone was entirely in her favor. She was seen as witty, nostalgic, and in control. He was the one under scrutiny. In an industry where headlines can make or break reputations, Vanessa just pulled off the perfect rebrand moment. She turned Zac's supposed scandal into her soft power play, reminding everyone that she knows how to move in silence and still own the narrative. The talk in town is that the fandom hasn't reached a consensus, and honestly, they probably never will. One group still clings to Vanessa, hoping for some magical reunion years down the line. To them, Vanessa's throwback wasn't shade at all. It was an olive branch, a soft, wistful acknowledgement of a love story that defined their teenage years. They scroll through old high school musical clips, compare it with Zac's current life, and convince themselves that maybe, just maybe, their paths could cross again. But then there's the other side, fans who believe Vanessa's post was her way of putting the past to rest. They see it as her closing the book with a polite nod to a chapter that once mattered but doesn't define her anymore. To these fans, the message was clear. Yes, that happened. It was beautiful. But look where I am now. Both groups are loud. Both groups are passionate, and together they keep Vanessa and Zac in the spotlight, even though the two haven't shared a stage or screen in over a decade. That split fandom energy is the reason their names still trend. It's the tug of war between nostalgia and reality, and neither side is letting go. Rumors in the circles say Vanessa's post wasn't only about Zac, it was also about holding up a mirror to herself. By revisiting her teenage era, she drew a sharp contrast between who she was and who she is now. In that old clip, she was a wide-eyed girl in love, singing her way through early fame. Today, she's a mother, a wife, and a professional with years of experience navigating Hollywood's chaos. That contrast becomes even starker when placed beside Zac's current yacht narrative. Without saying a word, Vanessa let the world compare their paths. Here's how far I've come, here's where he is. It wasn't cruel, it was reflective. A reminder that growth looks different on everyone, and sometimes the most powerful commentary is letting people draw their own conclusions. It's almost poetic. She turned a throwback into a measuring stick. Not one for judgment, but one for perspective. And whether fans view it as shade or self-celebration, the effect was the same. Vanessa came out looking grounded, while Zac's image looked even more untethered. Insiders whisper that what makes Vanessa's so-called silence-breaking moment so powerful is its simplicity. No sit-down interview, no cryptic subtweets, no tell-all memoir, just a short clip, a playful caption, and flawless timing. And yet, it dominated the conversation. In celebrity culture where stars often overshare, Vanessa showed that the quietest moves can make the loudest impact. By saying less, she gave fans space to say more, and they did, filling timelines and threads with theories that put her in the spotlight while Zac's yacht antics faded into background noise. Right now, Vanessa holds the upper hand. She's the face of nostalgia, the grounded adult, the woman who has gracefully evolved. Zac, meanwhile, is painted as the drifter, the eternal reinvention, the yacht boy caught in whispers. That contrast gives her the power. And she didn't have to fight for it, she simply reminded everyone of who she was and let the rest unfold on its own. Here's how I see it. Vanessa isn't looking back. Her Instagram nod was closure disguised as nostalgia. She's focused on her family, her career, and moving forward. Zac, on the other hand, will keep drifting between reinventions, the actor, the nomad, the yacht boy. But the more he leans into that lifestyle, the more his past with Vanessa will haunt the conversation. I think the next time we see Zac in headlines, it won't be about yachts. It'll be about a new project or a public move meant to reset his image. And when that happens, don't be surprised if Vanessa once again finds a subtle way to remind us all who knew him